right. Bleach sneak entry arc. Oh, baby. I just have one thing to say about the sneak entry arc. Put it in my veins, bruh. Right here. Put it in my veins, bruh. All right, let me chill. Let me chill. Let me chill. I started watching the dub of Bleach out of curiosity. I was watching the sub the whole last arc, but I started watching the dub out of curiosity, and I think the dub is better than the sub. If you want to throw tomatoes at me, I understand. But I am watching the dub from here on out, and what sold me on the dub was that Chad sounded like a phone sex operator. Please do not ask me how I know what a phone sex operator sounds like. Dark time in my life. So in this arc, Ichigo and company are sneaking inside the Soul Society to rescue Rukia from her execution. And man, it did not disappoint, bruh, at all. Like, I loved how fast-paced this arc was. Like, everything was moving with a good flow. I didn't feel like anything was dragged out. I wasn't bored. I was always tuned in. I didn't like mentally like check out while watching the arc. Like, I was really just locked in and tuned into the arc. But the standout of this arc, the standout though, the fights, bruh. These hands, bruh, the fights. I gotta bring out the essential water for this one, man. They was wilding on these fights, boy. Boy was wilding. Ichigo was working harder than a Jamaican parent in this arc, bruh. Like, I say about 90% of this arc, Ichigo, my bad, was slashing and dashing, bruh. Literally, like 90% of this arc, he was getting busy. Like, every time, like, I look up, Ichigo is fighting. I love that. And I think he probably had at least 6 to 8 fights alone in just part 1 of the Soul Society arc. So that basically made up for the previous arc where it was moving really slow and it was dragging. That in the sneak entry arc, oh no baby, Ichigo was getting busy, slashing and dashing, even a little bit of gashing in there. But he was giving people the blues, boy. After all his fights, he was just continuously getting stronger and stronger. And then we're finding out like different depths of Ichigo's like strength. And the one thing that kind of concerned me though, within all those fights, was how soon he was able to hang with a captain of the Soul Society. Now, it wasn't like a big deal, but he just like he went from fighting a lieutenant to immediately fighting a captain in the same arc. And I was just like, hold up, like, slow it down. We gotta pump the brakes a little bit. I know Ichigo is that dude, but come on now, bruh. Now, it's not a huge deal that he went from fighting the lieutenant to the captain right away, but I just wish they held off a little longer. That's all I'm saying. Now, I was worried when Ichigo fought Renji for the second time, and he was struggling because he beat Renji so easily in the living world. But then when I saw Ichigo struggling with Ikkaku at the beginning of the arc, I was like, hold up, this don't make sense. If he handled a lieutenant in the world of the living super easily, he should be washing Ikkaku, who is under a lieutenant. So I'm frowning up at the TV like, no, this don't make sense, man. Y'all conned me, y'all tricked me. But nah, once he got to Renji and Renji explained, hey, our second fight ain't about to go like the first one because we can't use the full extent of our powers in the world of the living. Okay, I wasn't mad no more once he explained it. I wiped the sweat off my forehead. I'm like, okay, it's time to get these hands now. I'm one of those weirdos who cares about power scaling for future references. Speaking of Renji's flashback, Bella. No, I can't lie. I was upset that there was a flashback right after the second fight. But then I ended up swallowing my words at the end of the flashback because the flashback was just beautiful. It explained Renji to his core. It explained his relationship with Rukia to his core. And I just love what their bond was in that flashback. It was just wonderful, incredible flashback. One of the better flashbacks I've seen in all of anime. Renji and Rukia got it out the mud, baby. They mud siblings, man. They got it from the dirt. You know what I'm saying? They came from the lowest of the low to get where they are today. Minus Rukia being locked up. But just in for them to get to the ranks they are in the Soul Society, like, and seeing where they came from and how many like obstacles they had to go through just to get to that point, because all they had was just each other, you know what I'm saying? And like that, they encourage each other to be themselves, the best versions of themselves. And that's what I really loved about that flashback the most, was just how they was always there for each other. They could have let some things get between them, but they didn't, you know what I'm saying, at that point. Um, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting how Renji has been trying to save Rukia basically like her whole life. And then now, fast forward to now, today, Ichigo has kind of took Renji's place. So I thought that was really dope. I felt like the sneak entry arc was the true introduction of Ichigo, because we see so many different sides to him. So from a battle aspect, we seeing like his growth as a reaper, his battle intelligence, and him testing it out during battle, you know what I'm saying, trying to figure out his opponents and find out their patterns and time them and different stuff like that. I really liked that aspect of the fights versus them just swinging swords. Is really him trying to figure out the puzzle and crack the Da Vinci Code, so to speak. And then you see him grow as a friend, as a person, you know what I'm saying? You just start to see how much he cares for the people around him. And I just really love to see his like vulnerability too, not only on the battlefield, but with his friends too. He's a very vulnerable guy behind like all the, you know, the ego that he has, the toughness. He's, like I say, he's a pretty chill dude. And he's one of those guys who's a natural. So stuff usually goes his way because he good enough to make things go his way. And then we have a good showing of like Ichigo's like moral ground. We learn a lot about him. We especially learn a lot about him during his training. I really love the training flashbacks, and it really showed his character. So everyone's separated, which I love to see that. I kind of felt that was coming. They had to get separated. So it was basically like in teams or in groups. So yeah, Orihime and what was it? Was it Orihime and Uryu? Yeah. So yeah, they were together. Not too much with them. They were virtually non-existent in this arc. Basically, kind of disappointing, but I'll get over that. Iryu's outfit was disgusting. He dressed like JP from the movie Grandma's Boy, except it was a white, ugly trench coat. Disgusting outfit. He had no drip. Nah, bro, that's a no-go. Ganju was basically like the comedy relief. I liked Ganju a lot. He was a new character introducing this arc. I liked him and Ichigo. Reminded me, he was basically Ichigo's Kuwabara, and Ichigo was Yusuke. That was the vibe I got. So Ichigo was always getting the better of him. when they was throwing hands with each other, and Ganju was kind of like this meathead, and he brought that humor to the arc. You know, a lot of different episodes he was making me laugh. He was an essential part of this arc, like for sure. And then plus his sister has anime titties. Titties was out of this world. You know what I'm saying? She was a huge um part in this arc. I'm talking about her actual D's, not her titties though. But they were huge. Then you have Hanataro. He was also a new character introduced in this arc. I loved his innocence, and he was kind of like the outcast of the Soul Society. I didn't feel like he was forced into the story. He blended in really well. Like I said, innocent, doesn't have any fighting skills whatsoever, but dude played a pivotal part in towards like the end of the arc. So he was definitely useful. Then you have Chad. He was just very random throughout this whole arc. He was just punching and destroying things. Fighting wise, Chad needs work. A lot of work. He's a kind of showed me that he was like a one-trick pony. So that was kind of disappointing. I was hoping that he'd have more in his arsenal or his toolbox, so to speak, when it comes to like big fights that he would be in. But yeah, he's kind of like very one-dimensional. Then you had Yoruchi. He just wandered around. Rukia was, of course, a prisoner, so she couldn't really do much, but you do see her throughout the whole arc, of course. Like, I just like how we get a better understanding of Rukia's background, her family, and the relationship between her and Ichigo, where they kind of, there's this like a tug of war for accountability between her and Ichigo, where Ichigo feels like this whole situation is his fault, but Rukia feels the same way. She said, if I never gave you my powers, none of this would have happened. And then Ichigo feels like he has a duty and a right to free Rukia, because as you saw in the first arc, Rukia saved Ichigo's family. You know what I'm saying? So they're both kind of like at odds about that, but it comes from a good place, and I really love that about Rukia in this arc. So that was super dope. Then outside of Ichigo's growth, my favorite thing about this arc was that not only do you have the mission at hand, and that's saving Rukia, you have another storyline intertwined with that, possibly, because I haven't seen the second part of the arc yet. But you have a second storyline that highlights the corruption of the Soul Society, and Rukia's like sentence and like unfair punishment may be intertwined with the corruption of the Soul Society. So now, not only am I looking forward to, okay, how are they going to save Rukia? Now I'm looking for it, like it's like a murder mystery now, because a key figure gets murdered in this arc. And so it's like, it's a murder mystery. I'm trying to figure out, it's a game of who done it now. And you have all these soul captains, Soul Society captains, and you don't know who to trust or who's who and whose intentions or who has like ulterior motives, especially when it comes to Rukia, because now it opens up the question of like, okay, why couldn't Rukia be forgiven, and why is her punishment so severe? It makes you think, you know what I'm saying? So, but once the key death happened in the arc, that's when the tone of the arc changed again. Like, because the one thing about this arc was that it just kept climbing up the ladder. And every time I thought it was just going to stay there, it climbed another level. And that's what I loved about it. Like, I wasn't expecting the corruption amongst the Soul Society. And I still don't even know what is over yet, because of course I haven't watched. I got to keep watching. but I don't even know what is over yet. So I can't wait to figure out and see what the corruption is about and why Rukia is being so severely punished. And she may not have nothing to do with it at all. Please do not spoil me in the comments. Please don't. But yeah, I can't wait to finish this arc for that very reason, because those two storylines like intertwining together, I didn't see that coming. But like I said, I cannot wait to finish the second part of this arc. I started today. I'm only about like 4 episodes in, but I'm super geeked to finish the second part, which is, I believe it's called the Rescue arc. Can't wait to finish that. But the sneak entry arc, that gets 8 out of 10 fruit snacks from me. That is it. That is all. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. I'm about to go finish watching the Rescue arc. I'm out. Peace.